I'm in Monterrey, it's a northern city of Mexico, and I pretty much visualize. I pretty much track all the quality control of our products, and I go to the field, to the installation and troubleshooting that we have in all the products. And yeah, I started up and things like that. And now well, that's what I've been doing so far. They've been giving me more responsibilities about it, but I will talk about it in the process with the questions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jorge. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Mhm.
So I will go ahead and begin. So I will, excuse me. We're gonna try to start keep it kind of like on the how it is on the page. So, in your current situation, do others encourage work towards achievement, and or challenging goals?
I mean, yeah, I would say that we do. That's like it's something that we say, like if the company does well, we all do well. That's something that is currently minding. And as I was telling you, now we have a very challenging. Now we have a very challenging. Let me see it. A very challenging.
En español también está bien.
¿Cómo se llama? Un proyecto. Yeah, we have a very challenging project now.
Okay.
Everybody is like super scared. No, but it's something I would say, no, we can do it. We accept this challenge. Personally, I work very well in a stressful situation, so that's something that is encouraged. So I don't know if culture as general, but I think that we are happy accepting challenging situations. I don't think like everybody. I mean, person to person probably they will be afraid of taking a very challenging project or something like that. But in general, I think people accept it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So question number 2: in your culture, is there a focus on rewarding good performance?
Yeah, I mean, if you perform well, you usually rewarded with more freedom in your decisions. That is something that happens naturally, and they can let you go free, and that is usually increased with salary and better position. Usually, the positions are not established like really mock position. Like now you go from here, you go from there. Like yeah, happens a little bit more organic. I think the organizations that have like a very structured are quite rare. Everything happens like a more organic. Like depending on your qualities, you go to different paths or your performance, and it's usually rewarded.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have a follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, I would have the follow-up question for this one. When I said rewarding, is that a certificate rewarding, or it could be a salary or money rewarding? What type of rewarding you're looking for, or probably promoting?
I mean, it's a combination of everything. I mean, you get more freedom, and that usually accompany with a bigger salary and more rewarding responsibilities. Usually, like the kind of the things you don't want to do are passed it on with the to the rank below you, and so you get more challenge, more better responsibilities, more freedom, and a better salary. That's usually your reward.
Okay.
So promoting. So you mean promoting and then move on to new responsibility and then let someone to take your responsibility?
I mean, the responsibility that you like, you take them with you, and the ones you don't like, you don't want to do, you pass it on.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I'll move on to the next question. So, do you think your culture puts more emphasis on the results or the process for a project? The process to complete.
I mean, the process is, of course, rewarded. Like, yeah, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Keep doing that. But if you don't present some kind of results at some point, it's just a certain level that the process can be rewarded or considered. I mean, in the end, what matters is the results. You have to present some results. So if you keep going in the process and don't show any kind of results, like yeah, you're doing a good job, but I mean, you need to finish something, or if you know what I mean.
Okay, so do you definitely feel like it's like in your culture places a lot more emphasis on results?
Like I said, I mean, the process is rewarded. Like you're doing a job, keep doing it. But this is up to a point, and like up to a point, you like okay, you've been doing good, but what's happened? You have a result for me or something? Yes. So yeah, I think we have a little bit more emphasis in results.
Okay, I'm sorry. My colleague is having connection troubles here. I'm just trying to get her to get on here, but okay, great. And finally, for my part of the last results is, so how much importance is given to punctuality in your culture?
I mean, punctuality in our culture as general, not very much. I mean, if you go to, but in work environment is quite important. I mean, if I have a meeting or I have to be in some place, I'm expected to be on time, especially in work environment. But in a more relaxed environment, like going to a social meeting or a party or something like that, like punctuality is not expected at all.
Okay. Any follow-up questions from anybody else?
I'm good from here.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay. So, Abdul, would you like us to continue, please? Next section.
Yeah. So this part we're gonna discuss more about human orientation. So the first question: think of the typical organization in your culture. How is negative feedback regarding to performance provided? So how do you like deliver the feedback regarding to your performance?
I mean, negative feedback, I think, is given pretty straightforward. I mean, if you screw it up, they will tell you, and you have to accept it. I mean, it's expected that somebody accept their mistakes, and they're being pointed out. I mean, with a little touch, of course, but yeah. And if somebody point out that I did something wrong, I'm expected to accept it and do something about it. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. You screwed up, you screwed up. There's no way around it.
Do you think is it in public, or like they will care about your emotional feelings and not saying it to everyone's like?
Oh no,
how do you receive?
Yeah, I think we take it mostly in private. I mean, if we have a meeting and they pointed out your mistakes, like we would consider a little bit humiliating. I mean, I don't doubt that some bosses do that, but no, it's not a good sign usually. Yeah, emotions are considered. I mean, like I say, with a touch.
Okay.
You have to point out the mistakes, but you need to have to touch about it. Otherwise, this counter is yeah, you won't get any benefit from it. I mean, the point of pointing out the mistake is to improve is improvement. That's the general idea that we have. So it's just you just don't consider somebody's feelings about it, like you're just gonna make them mad and not improve in any way. So I think as a general, everybody has that idea.
Okay. Any follow-up question?
No, that I felt that was very detailed, but if anyone else has any.
Okay. I'll go for the second question. Do you think people's feelings are a big consideration while communicating in your culture?
Yeah, well, I think I already answered the
Yeah,
question.
in a way.
Yeah, in a way, it was like, well, like, I think they put it out. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the feelings are I consider, like I say, I mean, you need to, the point of put it out mistakes is improvement. So you just go and make somebody mad, you're not going to improve in any way. You're just going to have a bad environment in the workplace. So.
Got it. Okay, for that question, in your culture, do people choose to tolerate or resist an unfair treatment, such as forced overtime?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, yes. Like, I think that is kind of changing, but yeah, you are expected to be very compromised with work, which I think is kind of bullshit, but you have to do it. In my case, well, I used to work in another company, and overtime was paid. And now the company that I work for, I mean, I'm a field engineer, so sometimes I'm in the field and I have to finish like the work. It's not like, oh, it's 6 o'clock, I have to go. I go back tomorrow. No, I mean, I have to finish because you're in the field. And usually I do overtime for that, and that overtime is not paid right now. I just have to accept that. But I mean, you go around with the rules, and you can, okay, I don't get paid overtime, but I can do other things, like I have a little bit more freedom in my schedule, for example. So yeah, you cannot pay with other things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like rules are not that strict.
Hmm.
So you see, you have to find a way to balance it.
Great, awesome. Okay, for me, my last question here says, in your culture, is an employee's emotional state during a family crisis, such as divorce, death, taken into consideration while evaluating their performance?
I don't know if divorce, because that's a little bit more complex subject. But if a closer family dies or something, I can. They usually give you a few days off, no questions asked. So that it is considered. With a divorce or something like that, it's like a little bit more complex, because I mean, it could take months or whatever. So I don't know.
Okay.
We'll take.
Go ahead.
No, that was it.
No, but that's us. Like, is it evaluating their performance? So let's say during this time, your result went down. They do care, and then they know because you've been through this month, or they want 100% result as it used to be before this crisis.
Okay. Yeah. They consider it like, okay, you having a hard time in your life now. Okay, we have a little bit more flexibility with you. It's okay, but up to a certain point, I guess. That just depends of your boss, of your
okay,
or your job culture or something like that. I think it will be different in every case.
Got it. Okay, well, that's my last questions, and one of my colleagues will take over the second section.
All right. Wendy, would you like to follow up on the trusts?
Yeah.
I think our distance, right?
Oh, is it Delaware's? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, forgive me. Yes, partisans. Forgive me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
So I'm gonna follow in the power distance. So the first question is that in your society, what do people do when they don't accept the new rules set by the top manager?
I mean, if they don't accept the rules and these rules are very hard or very different, you usually just leave or accept it. And it's not much open discussion about it, I guess. You should just leave or accept it. There's not much discussion with the top management, usually. Especially in these cases when a company is brought up, and management complete change. Most of the people leave. It's really rare that especially the top people, they all leave. That's mostly what happens.
Okay, my second question is that do you think the top management in your society is welcoming to suggest from the subordinate?
Yeah, I think management usually accept suggestions. It's really usually we have a open talking culture. So it's like it will be like you say like an elevator conversation, something like that. Like you encounter your boss for whatever reason, and you have a few minutes to talk with them, and you make whatever suggestion you have, but it's more informal like that. I mean, some more organized places have like a suggestions process, and I think that's taken in consideration, but it usually gives a better results if you have the opportunity to talk with, directly to your bosses or something like that in an informal way, and that gives better results, and they usually accept it very well.
Okay. Could I follow up real quick? What about like during a meeting where it's like a kind of a wide meeting or a department-wide meeting?
It's expected. You have a meeting or something like that. It's like the place to do it. I mean, you have to do it with a touch, of course, but you can do suggestions or point it out certain things during a meeting. It's accepted. You can do that. It will be welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question is that in your society, is it okay for subordinates to draw attention towards a top manager's mistake?
I mean, yeah, you can do that. I mean, if your boss screwed up like him, again, you can say that to him. That probably would not be a good idea to say in a meeting, but I mean, you can point it out in private, let's say, or something like that. It will be probably more accepted like that. Boss, again, I think this was a mistake, and we probably should have gone this way. I mean, the welcoming of this will probably come with the character of your boss or something like that. Somebody will accept it, and somebody will not. But as general, culture, I think is welcoming. Obviously, you have to do it with a touch. Again, you cannot just point it out that like, hey, you're screwed up and stuff like that. You need to talk. You need to talk it out. Sweet talking, like you said.
Okay, my last question is that does being older or younger have a significant impact on who making decision in your culture?
Oh yeah, big time. Like you're older, you expect to be wiser, so you make the decisions. And if you're young, you're young in the company, you're expected to shut up and listen. That's kind of changing, but as a general idea, that's whole culture. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm finished my question. So Sakshi will continue that.
Just a quick follow-up from that last question. Even that young person or employee has more education and knowledge, but you don't let them make a decision just because the age.
I mean, we put in. Okay. If you are young and then you have more credentials and more knowledge of the situation, you need to prove yourself. I mean, you'll be able to take decisions than the older person, yes, but you need to prove yourself. In our initial points, the older person has the authority just because it's considered that they have more experience. But as a young person, you have more knowledge on the subject. You need to prove yourself in a starting point.
Awesome.
And then you will be able to make decisions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and ask questions based on trust. For my first question, in your culture, do people trust their colleagues over time based on their family background and delivering results?
I think it's a little combination of everything. I don't think, I think I would put it results, family background, and credentials in that order. You know what I mean? Credentials usually don't impress people that much. Family background kind of does. Delivering results is the first one. I mean, if you're doing a good job and you're delivering results, I mean, your family background and your credentials doesn't really matter anymore. But as a first impression, yeah, family background is important. For example, I come from a family of engineers, so I got this job pretty much for that. So I was expected to perform good just because of that. So that was important. My credentials didn't matter that much. I mean, you're an engineer, okay, but who are you? And I'm still here because I'm delivering results, so I think I'm doing a good job.
Okay. So for my next question, in your culture, is the level of trust people put in others based on their past experience and academic or professional certificates? Mm-hmm.
I think the most important part will be the experience. Like yeah, I think
what
it's important.
Experience?
The experience part will be the most important. Like I said, credentials. At least now I feel that they don't impress much people anymore. Like, oh, you study here or whatever, you have this and this credentials. Like, They don't really matter anymore. I think it's because like school culture have been diminished. Like you have a lot. I mean, you can have a master's degree or a doctorate in any bullshit degree that you want. So I think that I've been diminished a little bit. But your past experience and not only your past experience, but the relationships you have with people and the recommendations that other people give about you, it's one of the most important things in the fact that other people trust you and not as an initial impression.
So, for my next question, in your culture, what factors contribute to employees' distrust of colleagues? Maybe such as fit with how they fit in with the group, their performance, or their first impressions. What would lead to distrust in somebody?
Okay, well, as a general culture, Mexico, we are expected to be very social. So you have to fit in the group. You have to be socially active in the group. Not with everybody, because that will be kind of impossible. But you have to need to have a few good relationships in the group, at least. That's important. Of course, you are in a work environment. You need to perform well. Otherwise, because every other job are connected. So if you're doing something bad, you're probably affecting somebody else, and they are never happy with it. So yeah, I think good social skills within the group and perform well are important to fit in the group and be trusted. And if you do any of these things wrong, you will probably be distrusted in some kind of level.
Okay. So, for my last question, in your culture, does physical appearance like tattoos, expressions, or even general behavioral attributes, are they considered a big factor while deciding how trustworthy a colleague is?
Yeah, big time. I mean, at least in the first impression, yeah. For example, I love tattoos. I would like to have a lot of tattoos in my arms and then whatever, but I can't. So I need to kind of hide them in my clothes or something like that. So I know if I have like visually tattoos or something like that, I will be mistrusted as a first impression, especially for the more older people that usually have the management. And what else? Physical appearance, yeah, it definitely matters. I mean, you need to be, you need to look good. You need to be groomed, well dressed, especially like, I mean, to a certain level. We're not in a cocktail party or something like that, but yeah, you need to be well dressed and well groomed. And I think the one most important is social skills. I mean, you need to be like, like basic things like say hello, good morning, thank you, things like that. I mean, good manners. Good manners are important. All those things matters to make it, especially to make a good first impression. And after a while, you can relax a little bit, but in the first impression, all those things matters.
Okay, so that was the last question, correct, for that section? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're just gonna each we'll ask each question finishing up this section, but I'll start with communication, which is first. That first question for that is: in your culture, do colleagues prefer to communicate as a group or more individually?
I would say individually. Like you probably have, like I said before, you probably in your work environment you will probably have a few good relationships, and you will communicate with them as a normal basis. You don't communicate with a group as a whole unless we have a meeting or something, or a social event or something like that. That is, the purpose is to communicate in group, because as general basis you work more individually with different relationships you have in work.
Okay, I'll take the second question. In your culture, do people tend to express their ideas directly or indirectly?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, if there is no other way to put it around, I mean, you just say the things directly. But another thing that is really common is like you can some kind of inception thing, like you pass the voice around of some kind of idea you want to put in the work environment or whatever, and you expect that somehow perform something. Well, after you do like the inception thing, you expect that somehow that finish in a kind of action. Sounds weird, but it happens. But yeah, I think a little bit of both. You can put the ideas directly, or it's in the indirect mode. I think will be more some kind of thing that you're not very sure about. Like you just pass the idea around and let it circle and see what people think about it. And yeah, I think that's the idea. But if you're sure of your idea and you want to put it on the table, you just say no problem.
Okay. Wendy, you want to do the next question?
Okay, I'll ask the next question. So my question is, in your culture, is it considered acceptable to address superiors by their first name?
I mean, yes, but well, in Spanish we have this pronoun that is usted. That is like a more formal way of address people. It's like the equivalent to will be like address people like a miss or mister or whatever, things like that. And I mean, it's accepted to be informal with your superiors, but I just can't do it. I don't know why, but I just can't. I mean, I always address my boss in this pronoun that I told him, like usted, or the people that I respect or whatever, and I just cannot do it. I don't know why. It feels wrong if I don't do it, and I think that is really immersed in the culture. Yeah, it's curious.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'll get into I'll explain it to the group after this when
Yeah, it's weird. I think you will have to explain.
Yeah, I completely understand, and I'll have to show them. But thank you for that. Wendy, would you like to or I'm sorry, actually, did you have a follow-up?
No.
Okay.
That was it.
Wendy, why don't you take the next question?
So the
Please.
next question is that in your culture, is body language helpful for communication and understanding with colleagues?
Oh yeah, body language is very important, but I I don't think it's a cultural thing. I see it as an advantage because I kind of study. Well, I read a few books and watch video tutorials of body language, and it totally gives you an advantage of what people are saying with the body language. So it's definitely a useful tool, but I don't know if that's, I don't know how to mix it up with culture. I mean, it's definitely immersed in the culture because I think like what 70% of your communication is with body language or something like that. I don't have the number right, but yeah, I mean it's definitely a helpful tool of communication in general.
Okay. Any follow-ups? No. Abdul.
I think, I don't know, just like meaning body language, it's like, for example, let's put it like in Saudi Arabia, when they're greeting each other, they're like, it's part of the communication and it's just kind of kissing the cheeks. That's the body language. Other countries don't do this. So that's like part of, like if you explain something, my hands moving left and right. So if I say right, but I don't say it, but I do my right hand, that means right. That's some country they will tell you, like in America, usually they will tell you like, yeah, you go straight, like, and then at the light take a right, and they don't move their hands usually. So that's what I meant. That's I think the question meant when it comes to body language. I mean that could be a part of it. There's eye contact as well. Like some country, they cannot like straight looking at your eyes. They usually like look around, and it's a part of disrespect if you're looking while you're talking, looking at their eyes. And then that's the question meant.
Okay, well, I don't know if in Mexico we have like very strict rules about body language. I mean, we do the kiss things at least with female college, but yeah, we use our hands and use a lot of body language to express ourselves. Yeah, like they say, it's definitely a useful tool, and if you know a little bit about it, you definitely have an advantage, especially to communication and to understand what others are saying. Like useful, like when you are in a negotiation, when you do the imitation game for creating like a better relationship or something like that. That is really useful. But I don't think in the culture a lot of people are conscious about it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
No, you did a great job.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Does anybody mind if I do the last question? No? Okay, great. So finally, Jorge, and in your culture, does the tone and volume of speech play a significant role in whether communication is considered respectful or not?
Oh yeah, big time. You can say totally different. I mean, it could be the same phrase, and if you change your tone and your volume or whatever you say, it can mean 100 different things. So yeah, big time. Yeah, volume and tone, it matters quite a lot in anything that you say.
Okay. Does anybody have any follow-ups?
And even in writing, I mean, if you write in emails or something like that, you put things in bold or whatever, things like that. If you don't do it right, it could be like the thing that you're screaming or do it in a more serious or whatever. So you can usually be I mean, if you don't know how to write emails, this can sometimes can be misinterpreted. Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. But yeah, big time. It really matters the way you say things, even if it's the same phrase.
Okay. Could I follow up on that real quick? So, like, let's say in an email, if you do get a message or that's with a line that's bolded, what in your position or in your or culturally maybe, what would be the response to that? Would it be like a quick email back or asking for verification or be apologetic? You know.
No, I mean, I would, if somebody writes something in bold and I interpret like they're screaming or doing in a bad tone, I would not like, hey, did you mean this or something like that? I would not probably follow it up. I would just answer normally. But the social relationship kind of breaks up a little bit. You know what I mean? Something like that.
I would imagine if it was like in a group chat, it would probably be not as well received to the recipient.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I will probably not answer. I mean, with it unless I'm that kind of people, because there are people who is like that. But with any like bad response, like immediately like a follow up. But I think that kind of people is more explosive. But normally, yeah, you will not answer. But like I say, the social relationship will be diminished a little bit. It wouldn't, like you say, will not be very well received. But that doesn't mean you will do something about it.
Okay. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's all the questions. But if you have anything else, you can do it right now.